2. Let's do it. So at the end of last week, I made a pros and cons board comparing the visual novel idea to the pinata game idea. I had kind of been loosely holding on to both, but I really wanted to just pick one so I could focus and power through to finish the game. I'll briefly show you what that process looked like. For the visual novel, as far as I can tell, it's not very coding intensive, and I am confident in my writing skills just as a whole. But for the cons, I probably wouldn't learn as much coding, at least in the traditional sense, like you would with most other games, platformers, puzzles, that kind of thing. It's essentially writing a book. That seems like a tall order. It requires a ton of art, which I'm really not confident in being able to produce that. Then we've got our pinata game. The pros, it's really a silly premise. I can make it do whatever I want, essentially. I also think it's just so colorful and it could be really aesthetically pleasing if I put work into that. And I'm also pretty sure I would learn more about game dev. There's like physics and movement, player control, all that kind of stuff. The cons for this one, I'm not sure what the hook is yet. It's unclear, but I still think it could be fun no matter what I end up on. It's probably gonna be a short game too, which is good for the scope, but I don't know how engaging it would be or if it would be enough to make a whole game. And I think there's a lot of potential for scope creep in this one. I'm already really close to having too much that I'm getting into here. So yeah, ultimately I picked the pinata game. I'm still kind of figuring out what the core is gonna be. Originally I thought like a clicker idle game, but now I'm thinking like an action battler. But it's kind of evolved the more I've done brainstorming, so I'll show you a little bit of that too. This was another case of brainstorming where I just took every idea I could think of and wrote it down in a short amount of time. As you can start to see, a lot of it looks cool, but it's pretty much the definition of scope creep. So what I want to focus on is the bottom here, where there are different enemy attacks like projectiles you can hit back, jumping over shockwaves, dodging swing attacks, basically more of an action-styled gameplay. And I even considered an over-the-shoulder, like third-person fighting, but yeah, that just doesn't seem feasible. So a lot of this informed the direction I took the prototyping this week. All right, here's the updated Trello board, but we've got the backlog section, which I'm gonna just add anything I can think of into here, and it won't move into the to-do unless it really is critical to the game. So for this week, I've just got some basic enemy player interaction stuff. So set up the pinata hit detection, hit functions, health, animations, all that kind of stuff. Started to make some working titles for my game. Break the Beast, which I think is kind of cool, or Beast Breaker. Fiesta Frenzy, Fiesta Fury, some kind of cool variations on the same title here. What do you think sounds better? I was just really wondering how menus are made. So I followed some more tutorials and I got a main menu and a pause menu working, which is awesome. Here it is, got just a generic Canva background, some really generic text and art and everything. But it does have start and exit game buttons at the bottom and they function as intended. There's also the pause menu, which is just literally text with like a blurring effect that you can barely see. But yeah, resume. And when you exit the game, it exits the game. So now it can do a slam, which right now is just an animation, but you get the idea. There's also not enough swing going on for it to do anything. But yeah, there you go. And it can also shoot projectiles. So I'm thinking hit it back like a parry system or something. We'll see where that goes. I know you're not supposed to do art before you do mechanics and making the game fun and everything, but I couldn't help it. I really wanted to learn more Blender and get my own little character so I'm not staring at the same stick figure for like months. So I'm gonna make this little guy. Okay, after an hour of creating this guy and rigging him, my first ever rigged character in Blender, we're gonna test to see if this even works. Amazing, I did it. Trying to use inverse kinematics just so I can drag around like the hands and feet and I won't have to pose every single bone. Oh, I see a few problems here. I don't know about you. Hey buddy, you doing okay? There we go. Much better. And we've got the legs too. I don't know why the knees are tied together. Okay, I learned that weight painting was what was causing all the issues. The automatic weight painting that Blender did, not accurate. And I was warned about that too, and I still didn't check, so now I know. So I managed to get a lot done on this actually. Lots to show off, lots of different mechanics that I introduced. So we've got an idle animation for the pinata enemy. We've got some attacks that automate every few seconds. We've got a health bar that goes down when you hit it. And it is registering hits, so it's got like an actual hitbox now. My solution for that was a little weird. I have a hitbox that matches the position of the final bat, which I'll show that in a second. Yeah, so this pinata actually has 3 phases, believe it or not. So phase 1, he's just doing his basic swing attack. We've even got a dodge. Pretty cool. I still have to implement the player damage and health bar, but we've got a working dodge. I also have a slide forward, which I'm not exactly sure what that would be for yet. Maybe it's like risky, you can slide in for extra damage, but you have to make sure you're not hit in that position. So you can deal extra damage, but you would take extra damage too. Something like that. Yeah, we've got a cool little damage animation when it takes a hit too. When you get it below a certain health, it goes into phase 2, and you can tell by the way it's pulsing like that. And your attacks do less damage too because it's more enraged. I need to add some different attacks for phase 2. But then phase 3, when it's almost dead, it's like extra aggressive, and it keeps doing a super attack over and over, and you have to time it just right. And if you miss, well, I didn't miss. Yeah, we've got the death explosion too. And here's what I was talking about. So basically, the enemy hitbox is always active, but this hitbox for the bat only lights up when it finishes the animation. So that way it's not registering a hit constantly. And it's kind of like a placeholder fix, but I'll adjust that more later, probably with like animation players that follow the bat exactly. But yeah, as of right now, you can see it lights up. The timing is a little off too, but that's okay. I made some visual updates here, starting to get real fancy with it. Check it out. That's a really cool effect. Rotating in 3D, it's pretty awesome. I don't know if I'll keep that, but I really want to consider this as like a style for my game.
Exploration costs.
I've been watching some Jonas Tyroller videos on YouTube about game development, and he's got great advice.
So you can explore more. Not so you can explore less, so you can explore more.
Basically, I'm trying to use this concept of exploration in your design to kind of quickly prototype different ideas and paths your game could take without directing all of your focus and energy on that. So yeah, I do want to explore. I think it's valuable to try out different avenues of this, but I'm still not exactly sure what's the most efficient or cost effective. And these are kind of the routes I'm already taking here. So it started as an idle clicker idea, which I still think is the easiest, but then it evolved into RPG elements, some roguelite elements, even a rhythm game, and now like a boss rush, which is really action heavy. So the question is, where is the most fun gonna be? At the end of this week, I feel pretty good about the progress. I can really feel Godot just becoming easier day by day with each hour I put into it. For me, this process has kind of been like an exponential curve. Like at the beginning, it was just that really flat, slow increase for the first couple weeks, but I'm feeling the start of the takeoff here. Obviously, I'm going to continue to keep learning and figuring out new ways to do things. But every day, trying to figure out new and more efficient ways to program stuff is really fun, and I feel like it's only going to get better from here. Today is Friday, so I'm going to work tomorrow most of the day, and I'm going to finish up a few more prototype ideas that I have for the different branches that I've kind of spread out. As always, let me know what you think, the different titles for the game, the mechanics that I'm thinking about, and yeah, with that, I'll keep you posted.